Let's start with the fact that the Indian team were batting first. You expected Rohit Sharma to give you a quick start. He gave you, once again, those 40s. And I know that you mentioned a short while ago when you were talking about his knock that he wouldn't have known at the time how the pitch is going to behave. A little later, it was a new ball, so he could bat like that. But just going into that over, assuming that he thought the pitch would be great, he's hit a 6, he's hit a 4 of a Glenn Maxwell. Was that shot needed at the time?
Well, it's debatable.
I put you on a spot.
Yeah, well, it's debatable, honestly. My initial instinct at that point, as soon as he got out, was, man, you just got 10 runs in 2 balls. You know, you could have just rotated the strike, consolidated, and attacked the next over. But you have to understand, and he's also been very vocal about it. Said that my role is to get the team off to a flyer and keep going, because there are roles defined to each player. Rohit and Shubman, Shreyas Iyer, all play attacking cricket, and they will all continue to play attacking cricket through the tournament, and that's what they've done. They've got 160 balls, 80 balls, and they've gotten the team off to flyers, they've gotten the 350s, 370s, 380s, 390s. Those have been the scores, right? So you can't fault them for sticking to their game plan. The sheet anchor role players were KL Rahul and Virat Kohli, and they performed that role with panache, right? So everyone were playing to their role, so you can't fault them for playing to their role. In hindsight, could he have played a different shot? Is he capable of it? Absolutely. You know, there's yes everywhere. But was he sticking to his game plan, and that was agreed upon with everybody else? Yes, he was. So you can't fault him.
Okay, Suresh, to you, the same question. That shot by Rohit Sharma, many think that, things turned around. Of course, an outstanding catch also taken by Travis Head. But just going on to that shot at the time that it came.
Absolutely, he will be very, very disappointing. He must be seeing the 100 Travis had got. He must be thinking the same, I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have stopped that shot, because when you already got 10 runs, I think Rohit is very attacking player, but pressure like this, you need to just play a bit more. But I think that's cricket. I think he has done really well as a captain. But I would say more pressure way. I think you need to handle the pressure. Virat looked very, very promising. He batted really well. Then KL Rahul also had a good partnership. I think sending Jadeja before Surya Kumar, that's also very, very different tactics, because Surya he's a proper batter. He can play a lot of sweep shot against Offie, because when Jadeja came, they had a couple of overs from Maxi and Travis. Maybe they tried their best, because that point of time, Adam Zampa was there. I think a couple of error, but I think still India played really well in this World Cup.
Okay, so Suresh mentions that Rohit Sharma shot and pressure in the same breath. Rajdeep, that same question, we were talking about the pressure thing, that Rohit Sharma shot at the time that it came. What did you make of it?
It's not pressure again, Nikhil. We've got it wrong. We didn't have a plan B. You see, the Australians, I mean, the disappointing thing about this match, and all of us, I think, watching the game, who follow the game, got it wrong, is the Australians just read the conditions better than the Indians. You've got your 80 for 1 in the power play. By then you know which way the wicket is playing. You then remodel your score. Instead of again going for a 350, 375, you look at 280, 300. And Rohit, perhaps the adrenaline got the better of him. He wanted to smash Maxwell out of the attack. All of that is all very well. But the fact is, where was your plan B? You see, I don't think we had a plan B if we didn't get going by over number 15. And I think that's the disappointment. I know that Virat got a 50 and Rahul got a 60. But in hindsight, I guess we just misread the conditions. We got the worst of the conditions. This was a game of literally 2 halves, where once you pass 7 p.m. in the evening, batting became so much easier. So I'm not going to blame the Indians. I think that would be unfair to blame either Rohit or an individual. They played spectacularly. But I think we misread the conditions. The very fact that Rohit Sharma said we would have batted first meant that we just didn't get the conditions right. We didn't recognize the importance the Duke factor would have. We didn't recognize how a slow pitch might make us revise our targets. We just went the way we've been going throughout this tournament, play with freedom. We've got defined roles. All that is all very well. But you've got to have a plan B. That's where the Australians got it right. They went to their plan B, realized very, very quickly that this is a wicket where you've just got to, keep the ball short and change your pace. It's a slightly two-pace wicket, and they reap the full rewards. And plus the fielding, the intensity with which the Australians fielded in the first 15 overs, I think sent out a message to India that they meant business. That catch of Travis Head, we're blaming Rohit, but the catch was spectacular and it made a huge difference in the final analysis.
Oh, that was a stunning catch. Okay, Robin, 2-3 points to come out from that.
So, okay, let me begin. I don't think anyone's blaming, with all due respect, I don't think anyone's blaming Rohit. I think these are points that are discussed as to what could have possibly been done in those situations. I think we speak about it just to throw light as to why this happened. And I don't think he misread the pitch. At that point when he was batting, I think he got out in the 9th or 10th over.
Yeah, that's the question. What Rajdeep said is that by 80, if you reach that far, you should have been able to.
You've gotten 80 in 10 overs. You're going at 8 runs an over, where in the entire tournament you've got 350 plus every time you batted first. Why would you think that you're going to have to pace yourself to 280 or 300 when you're going in 8 runs an over? Yeah. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think, and especially when things are going your way, the wicket changed, or you saw the nature of the wicket, I think, well past the 10th over. Because when Rohit and Virat got out, and then I beg your pardon. When Shubman and Virat got out, and then Shreyas got out quickly after that, that is when you started seeing that the wicket is a little up and down. That's when you started seeing the wicket actually show its true nature. And then the conditions later on, I think obviously they misread for certain the dew factor. They thought the dew may not come in. Because in all of the past 10 matches, when they expected dew to come in, it did not come in.
Yes.
And they expected the same. It's not wrong for them to expect the same, because there's been a trend of it happening for them in their home conditions. So they assumed that it's going to be the same, and it wasn't the same. So I think that's where luck played a factor. The toss working in Australia's favour had
but that's my question. How is it that you're right, okay, with the arguments that you make, that maybe the pitch changed its nature a little later. It was tough to say at the time. But the other point that Rajdeep makes, how is it that Australia got it so right? He was lucky with the toss, of course, that's just a coin toss.
Correct.
But to have made the right decision as to that we'd be chasing, which a lot of people thought would be dangerous.
So we haven't seen what Australia's experience was as far as dew was concerned in their previous 10 matches. We've not followed Australia as closely as we followed India. So information about that we'll only know as to why they end up making that decision based on, okay, what were they doing, what were they looking to do when they won a toss in certain venues, was there dew in those certain venues. Once we do a detailed study on that is when we'll know what led to their decision of bowling first. And if you look at it, even in the Bombay game in Mumbai, when Afghanistan got 290, and they were literally 50 for 5, 50 for 6, and from there to end up winning the game, was for them, the conditions worked in their favour. There was dew that day, and even the spinners couldn't get a lot out of the wicket. So you could tell, based on just that one sample size, that this is why they probably decided to field first.
Okay. Sometime you draw from your past experiences, as Australia may have experienced in the World Cup, as Robin is pointing out. To the other point that Rajdeep was making, he's saying India never had a plan B. Now, if I was to chip in, I did see them have a plan B in a few games. One of them was the first Australia game, where they did not get a good start, but they had a plan B where they quickly, changed their kind of total that they have to get and adjusted to that, and then won that game.
Compared to this wicket, the Chennai wicket was far better.
Yeah.
Right?
Indeed.
It allowed you, even though you're chasing down a score, it allowed you to kind of work in a fashion where you could get runs, rotate the strike. This wicket in the first innings was too slow for you to even nudge the ball into the gaps. Because even when you try to maneuver it into the gaps, people were already anticipating that and moving accordingly, the fielders. Yes, they fielded out of their skins. You have to give credit where it's due. They fielded well, they bowled well, they read the conditions well, and bowled exceptionally well. Travis Head turned the game on its head with his fielding and his batting. Yeah. You have to give all of them credit. Pat Cummins turned up today and bowled exceptionally well, which he hadn't done in this tournament thus far. So they are big match players, and they are I think I mentioned to you, if there's any team that has the gumption of beating India in this tournament, it was Australia. And because they know how to turn up at World Cups. So you have to give credit where it's due, but you have to be realistic about everything else as well.
Okay.
And I certainly believe India had a plan B. And today, the way they batted was their plan B. When the wickets fell, they had to take stock, and the two guys took stock and actually created a partnership before Virat got out. Yeah. And even that soft dismissal, look at all the dismissals, all of them were soft. They were not no one really threw their wicket. And today we're going after a Rohit who we feel may possibly threw his wicket, but he was playing to his role. Yeah.